My partner had sex in my bed with Meta. Am I overreacting?
There are 1,000% better men out there. That's the vibes we're on.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Makeup and Mess, where we talk about the mess, while we look good, and we process the mess. So today's look, I really wanted to be like fun, flirty, bright, and I really wanted to just like match my outfit. I ain't got a lot of clients today, and I'm getting my nails done, so I really wanted to be real cute today. So take a look at the look. Look at what we working with. I feel really cute today, guys. I feel really cute today, and I needed it because yesterday was, I don't even know what was wrong. I think my cycle coming because I was just emotional. It was a rough day. But you know, we feel cute. Okay. So for today's story, we kind of got a theme here. We're going with a theme, and the theme is respect. Whether that is respect for you, yourself, respect for your partner, respect in general. Now, is this actually what's going to happen? I don't know. I only based that off of the titles. It gave aiming in respect lane, but we could end up going in a whole different avenue. So let's see if these stories stay in line with the theme of respect. So, our first story. My partner had sex in my bed with Meta. Am I overreacting? First off, what the hell does that even mean? Like, are we talking about Meta like Instagram, Facebook Meta, like AI Meta? Like, is it like, are you trying to tell us that your partner had sex with AI? This story comes from Best of Redditor Updates. Throwaway account. I'm sort of new to polyamory, as in this is my first poly relationship, but she has had other partners before. Sorry in advance for the rant. I, 35 male, live with my partner, 28 female, and have done so for the last about 9 months. We've been together for 2 years. I have no other partners and have been focusing on myself. She has another partner, 29 male, she has recently been seeing. At partner's insistence, we have had separate beds. Idea being we each have our own space we can both invite others into and can have to ourselves when needed or have other partners in. Y'all need to reread stuff. I actually like this. We have different schedules and days off, so it means I'm able to not be interrupted by her getting up, going to work on my days off and vice versa. Yesterday, I came home early as we got rained out at work. We were talking about an hour here. There had been no mention of date or anything like that, but she doesn't need my permission to see Meta, and I was at work. Is Meta who is it? Okay, hold on. When I opened the front door, I was greeted by the sounds of her loudly having sex. Our rooms are at opposite ends of the house, and it was definitely coming from my room. Oh. In the moment, I froze, closed the door, and left. I felt angry and betrayed. I have a friend who lives close, so I went to their house. I returned about 3 to 4 hours later, and my partner texted me asking where I was. I was pretty angry, and I said I knew she was having sex in my bed, which I was pretty upset about. She said, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. You didn't think it was that big of a deal for you to have sex in your partner's bed? Who raised us? I didn't think it was that big of a deal, and then she got caught up in the moment. How do you get caught up in the moment in a bed that's not your bed? I view this as a pretty serious betrayal. She has space for partners, and this isn't it. Am I overreacting, or is this not that big of a deal? For starters, there's something about this situation that activated betrayal for you. And so if you feel that that's what this is, it's a sense of betrayal. And I can understand that because you guys have boundaries, and this is 1,000% where respect comes in. You have boundaries of you guys having your own space and a space for you guys to take partners. First off, I don't know who the fuck Meta is, but I'm guessing Meta is a person. But you guys have your own designated spaces that you had already laid out as the rules of where you guys can be. She actively chose to violate that and go have sex in your bed, because you don't just stumble upon your partner's bedroom and be like, I got carried away. I got carried away. We just had sex there. How the fuck did you get in there? Like, what are we talking about? No, that is disrespectful. To me, this says she's been doing this for a consistent period of time. Like, and because she knew she could do it, because you came home early. You came home early. So she wasn't expecting you. That probably needs to be more of the conversation, is how many times have you had sex in my bed? Or spicy time. Let's, for YouTube's sake. How many times have you had spicy time in my bed? But let me pose the question to you guys. Would you feel disrespected if you were in an open relationship and you guys shared a home and your partner was having spicy time in your bed? How would you feel? How would you react? Would you have just left the house? Or what would you have done? But me, there ain't no way I'm turning around. Ain't no way I'm turning around and walking out that door. I would have kicked that door. The door would have got kicked in immediately. Pew, pew, pew. The fuck is wrong with you? We're being healthy. Don't do that, guys. Let's go to the top comments. We got caught up in the moment and tripped and fell into your room and then rolled onto the bed. At that point, it was too much work. This is a really stupid justification. I'm guessing there was something wrong with her bed, forgot to wash the sheets, or one or both of them had some kind of kink reason of wanting to use your bed. Neither of them justifies this. I don't think anything was wrong with her bed. The kink part, I 1000% think is that, because like how there's some people who like get off like when they were younger, like, oh, let me go have spicy time in my parents' bed. Like the forbidden places turns people on sometimes. So I wouldn't be surprised if ain't shit wrong with that girl bed and she just likes doing that. OP says, partner says Meta thought it would be, Meta is actually the person. Okay, partner says Meta thought it would be hot even so. Exactly, this was on fucking purpose. The partner says Meta thought it would be hot. Even so, she knows it's my space, and surely the whole idea of separate beds in our own space is sacred, and the other is allowed in if invited. I did not invite them, and I decided to go back to my friends and to stay for a few days. Update. Hey everyone, small update, and thank you to everyone who has all responded. All my friends are mono, so it's heartening to be able to have people who can give good advice in this space. After looking at what happened in cold light of day, southern hemisphere, and sometimes thinking, I realize at a minimum, I need to move out to take some time away from the relationship. That doesn't mean I will or won't stay with her. I just haven't fully processed this yet. I've been cheated on in monogamous relationships, and this feels similar. I've had no further contact with the partner except to tell her not to contact me for now. A clarification for some: when we made the decision to have our own beds and bedrooms, my partner quite clearly, tongue twister. My partner quite clearly stated that each other's space was ours only, and we could only enter each other's space if invited. I made a reasonable assumption from that information that she wouldn't have spicy time with someone else in my bed. In much the same way that if I had another partner, I wouldn't have spicy time with them and hers. Yes, polyamory is about communication, but there was a boundary at a much lower level than this, and I didn't see the necessity to explicitly point out that having spicy time with others in my bed was a hard no. I'm not entirely sure there was a humiliation kink involved. As I was home a bit early, the text message asking where I was when I was about 2.5 to 3 hours late of when I normally be home with no communication. I am, however, starting to think that this wasn't the first time, as some of you have pointed out. Those of you who suggested locking the bedroom doors, thank you for the practical advice. However, there are no locks on the bedroom doors. And frankly, I don't want to live with a partner who I need to lock my space after knowing it's off limits. I didn't know our relationship could possibly recover from this, but honestly, I don't need to decide that right now. You feel violated because there was a violation. You guys had a very clear boundary. You don't need to explicitly state, hey, don't have spicy time with somebody else in my bed, when you literally already had an explicit boundary that you have to be invited into the other person's space. That then automatically means if you're trying to go into their space to have spicy time, that there has to be an approval. If you want to leave, go ahead and leave. Get on out, get on out. Go. Sorry. Final update. I've moved out and decided to end things. It has been a tough and emotional time, so bear with me if I haven't added any information. It came out that this wasn't the first time, no, really, that this happened. I assume it was some sort of power fantasy, either from Meta or my partner, but my partner at a minimum allowed it more than once. There was also some unprotected they were also having unprotected spicy time, and that was not mentioned to me at any stage so that I could make a decision in line with my risk profile. Let's be very clear, whether polyamory or not, communication is the baseline for any relationship. And especially in polyamory, if you're sleeping with other people and it's unprotected, you need to let everybody know. Don't make my head itch. There was a red flag in that she didn't respect my boundaries in a similar way in the past. When I called out, she waved it away. In hindsight, this type of behavior should not have been a surprise, and that's on me. We're gonna come back to that. I should have pushed back harder earlier. That's enough for me, thanks. I have no trust in that house or that partnership. Poly is something I have been keen to try. The idea of partners not having to be absolutely everything for each other or having their own independence and autonomy has been a really attractive idea and reality for me. But having my boundaries trampled like this really put a sour taste in my mouth, and I'm not sure where to go from here. We don't even need to go to the, wait, hold on. Somebody said something about Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, no, that's the first comment. And here I thought, based off the title, that this was gonna involve Mark Zuckerberg. No, seriously, I was so confused where Meta came from. I was so completely wrong. Completely wrong. I was excited for this story too because I thought this had to do with like AI. Clearly, that's not what it did. But so all of us thought that. So we was all wrong. But either way, it still had to do with respect. The thing that just stood out to me, in hindsight, this type of behavior should not have been a surprise, and that's on me. What did you let slide? I think a lot of times we let things slide or bypass because we don't want to ruffle feathers too much, or we gaslight ourselves into being like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. When you let things slide, it always comes back to bite you in the ass. Always. So we gotta stop letting things slide. Next story. I did a little experiment, and I have little sympathy for men now. This comes from the r/dating subreddit. I am so curious to see where this is about to go, because dating apps, I get it. Some of these men be wilding on there. So let's see what's happening here. To start, I'm a 20-year-old female. So basically, I did a dating app experiment. I've heard guys say girls get hundreds of swipes to choose from, and a lot of men are lucky if they get 2 a month, or if any at all. So the results that's supposed to be were, okay. So the results were exactly what men seem to be talking about lately. I made a profile with a semi-attractive woman and got like numerous swipes within the first few hours, like overwhelmingly a lot. I did the same thing with a guy profile with a decently attractive man and got 12 likes within a few days. Damn, is it really that hard out for y'all? Is it really that hard out? Well, no, actually, no, this actually can make sense. Actually, I can attest to that, because when I was on dating apps, I would see somebody who I think is attractive and I wouldn't do it. But then I know guys who get blue. That's what we're not about to do. Go over there. That's what we're not about to do. She's gonna knock this camera over. See, it's like, I know guys who've been on dating apps and who've gotten crazy amounts of likes. And then I know guys who are on dating apps who don't really get a lot. It's a mix, you know? Okay. I did the same thing with a guy profile with a decently attractive man and got 12 likes within a few days. I also swiped to see how long it would take to swipe through people to get matches as a man profile. It seemed pretty exhausting, not gonna lie. My results were, girl, learn word from where. My results were that a lot of women were looking for short-term and not serious hookups, friends with benefits, lots of bots. There be bots? Oh, Jesus. And lots of bots. People that just weren't that attractive, 100 to 200 plus miles away, and a lot of young single moms who don't want more kids. I'm a single mom, so I'm not judging that, just pointing it out. As a decently looking woman myself, I know we get hundreds of swipes per month. Men have flat out admitted to me that they have the tendency to spam swipe though, and they're not actually looking for people's profile, because I, as a woman, have had guys be like, oh, you're 100 miles away, and I'm like, yeah, it says it on my profile under the picture of the fuck. That does happen all the time. Oh my God, that does happen all the time. I will say though that I understand their frustration with getting barely any swipes compared to women. We have a lot to choose from, but it seems like men don't really have a lot to choose from. The thing about dating apps is that they have to swipe on you and like you back. And then once you get that, then you have to get a date. Both sides like to check out what you go on a date. And then once you have a commitment talk, a lot of people don't want to commit to dating in 2026 and the foreseeable future. The near future sucks ass. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's have a discussion. One of the top comments says, what discussion is there to be had? Question mark. It's a broken system and there's no easy way to fix it. So let's actually have a conversation about dating. I remember at one point when I was on, it was either Bumble or Hinge. I had like 500 likes. And do you know how exhausting it was to go through that? I was like, oh no. And in half of them, I was like, blue, we're not gonna do this. We're not about to do this today. Here, you're about to come sit with me. So when it comes to dating, men, what is your experience like? Because I do be hearing men, a lot of the men friends I had talk about what it's like dating, as well as what it's like on dating apps. I wonder if, like, do you guys have that similar experience? Women, what is your experience like? Are you experiencing getting the hundreds of likes? And is it exhausting to go through for you? I think that's a really fair question to have. And then also like the state of dating in the world right now, because yeah, there are a lot of people who are exhausted when it comes to the dating process. They don't want to keep starting over, which is sometimes how we can find ourselves staying with unhealthy people or in unhealthy relationships, because the thought of going back into the dating field and having to go through all of the trash can be really daunting. Let's keep it a buck. It can be really daunting. I will say, when you are dating and you are going through like the dating apps, or even if you're just meeting people in person, people typically show signs about how serious they are. And sometimes we don't pay attention to that. And I wonder, what are the signs that you guys have noticed in dating where you were like, dang, that's something I missed. I should have paid attention to that to let me know that they weren't that serious. One thing that we shouldn't necessarily look at as a super bad thing is when men or women are showing you that they don't want to commit. That is an actual red flag that we just, okay, now we gotta leave. We gotta dip out, because you can't change somebody who doesn't want to be serious and doesn't want to commit. A part of dating, you're gonna meet a lot of frogs. And so when you're going on these dates, half the time, first off, we need to stop thinking about, is this man, is this woman my wife, is this woman my person? Do I like them? And first off, how soon are we having this conversation around commitment? Because some of y'all be moving real quick and be trying to have conversations of commitment on like day 4. You don't even know them. Let's slow down and like truly get to know people, because typically you are not going to see somebody's true self until like 2 to 3 months. That is typically where the mask slips and they can no longer hide who they are. A lot of y'all be over here hop, skipping, and jumping, and by the time we had 2-3 months, you already done moved in with them. Yeah, I have sympathy for you men, because if that's, well, I've heard a lot of places, especially in Atlanta. I've heard the things that y'all men go through, and some of these women is crazy. So guys, we had a pause in the day because I was running late, but you see this face still? Beat, 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 beat has lasted all day, all mother day. But we also got our nails done, so nails are done. So the last story is, I'm jealous of my husband's affair partner. Just for context, my husband, 32 male, had an affair with a 22-year-old female for half a year when I, 32-year-old female, was pregnant. You heard that right. And subsequently gave birth. He was emotionally disconnected from me, and I feel I only did the bare minimum for the baby. After unraveling everything she received, like money, lingerie, clothes, fancy hotel rooms, taxi rides, romantic kissing, hugs, daily voicemails, master toys with her, car, spicy sign, lunch, dessert, damn, lunch, dessert, and sending her to the airport for holiday, and probably many more. That's a lot already. That's a lot already. I believe I'm actually quite jealous. She didn't even need to spend a single cent. It's not that he didn't provide during our dating life and marriage. He did. Albeit, during our dating life, he wasn't earning as much as he is now. It's just that she got to receive it too. And that's the root of the cause of my jealousy. He said he has stopped contacting her, but it doesn't change that she received so much from him in the last few months. How can I move past this if she gets to linger? Oh baby, oh baby. How can I get past this if she gets to linger in his memories forever? Is it a good idea to recreate those memories? No. No, don't do that. Is it a good idea to recreate these memories so I'm the one he thinks about and not her? How do I find my self-worth and stop being jealous of this homewrecker? Oh, Jesus, Jesus, baby, Jesus, baby, bless your heart. That is a lot. I feel like it's a really hard question to answer of how do you move past this? Nobody can truly tell you if you are going to be able to move past this. That's something you have to decide on your own. There are some people, and I've seen them, I've worked with them, where there has been infidelity and they have been able to move past the infidelity. But that's not for everybody. The real question to be asking is, can you move past it if the thoughts linger in your mind? Are these memories going to stay stuck in your mind? Are you not going to be able to move past it? Are you going to be questioning his every move? Are you going to be on edge? Are you going to be paying attention to every little thing he does, trying to figure out if this is a sign that he's doing this again? That is the question that you need to be asking. You can't control what is in that man's mind, just as much as you couldn't control him cheating, which, let's just talk about the level of inspect. See, of cheating on your wife who's carrying your child. To me, I think that is gonna be the part that it may be hard for you to get past, is the fact that you were carrying his child and he created a whole relationship. This wasn't just spicy time. This wasn't just this wasn't casual. This was a full-blown relationship that he created. Blue, we're not doing this. Not again, not again, not today, ma'am. This was a full-blown relationship that he created. I couldn't get past that. I could not. That's a deal breaker for me. But can you, is the question. Yes, there is a space where you have to work on how you view yourself, how you feel about yourself, how much you value yourself. And to me, this is showing that you value him more than you, because you're not even thinking about really you in the midst of this. You're thinking about what he's thinking about. So what makes you happy? What makes you feel loved? What are the needs that you have? We need to focus more on you, baby. That's who we need to focus on you. And I am so sorry that you had to experience this, because that is a heartbreaking thing to experience while you're already carrying a child. But for the love of God, do not try to recreate memories that he did with her. That's gonna be triggering. That's gonna be so triggering, because you're gonna know you're specifically doing it because he did it with her. Your husband is the issue. Let's be very clear. Your husband is the homewrecker. He knew he was married. He knew, and he made an active choice to step out on you while you were carrying his mother and child. Your husband is the homewrecker. It's probably really hard to get past the things that she got to receive in their relationship as well, because those things that she received are things that are supposed to be sacred to your marriage. And he just showed you how they aren't sacred things. They aren't things that are just for you guys, that he can and will give them to somebody else. And so understandably, I can understand why this would hurt and why it is hard to get past it, because it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel like you're a priority anymore because he gave it to somebody else. There is no easy answer of how do you stop being jealous of this girl. But it does start with you paying attention to what do you want? What do you need? How do you feel? That's what it's so sad. Oh, I hate men who do this shit. Oh, you piss me off. Focus on yourself. Focus on your healing. Focus on how you feel about yourself. Go to therapy, because this is not something that is going to be easy to deal with, whether you stay or go. One thing I want to say to you, to anybody who's experiencing this or has experienced this, and this is something that I have to tell myself and remind myself too, because I've been there, not getting cheated on while pregnant, but I've been cheated on by. We'll talk about it later. How they choose to treat you has no bearing on who you are as a person. It has no bearing on your heart, has no bearing on your character, has no bearing on any of that. You are still worthy. You always were worthy. You always were good enough, and you will still be good enough. They are trash and they are cowards. But you deserve the world. You always have, you always did, and you always will. Nothing is going to change about that. No matter how they chose to treat you, you still are going to deserve the world. Okay, but that's it, guys. That's it for this week. We got to go. But tell me how you're feeling about these stories, guys. Tell me what stood out to you. Tell me what you're thinking. I want to know, because I felt like these were some good ones and we stayed on theme. I was right. The titles were right. They were about respects in the end. But make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next makeup mess. I will see you guys next time. Signing off, Jalen Nicole, your homegirl, who just so happens to be a therapist.